Okay, so in this position for white, it's important to push either f3 or maybe h3 so that he can stop this move knight to g4. This is because let's suppose if white decides to castle, which looks obvious at first sight, but guys, now comes this move knight to g4, attacking this bishop which is guarding this knight on d4, which is targeted by this bishop and this knight. So that's why the only option now for white is to capture this knight by knight takes c6, but after b takes c6. But what's next after the move bishop to f4? And guys, now comes a5, and you can see black has successfully taken control over the center, and you can see this light square bishop can anytime go for bishop to b7 square, eyeing this strong diagonal, and by all of this you can see this position is better for black. But in the actual game, after the move d6, here Firouzja goes for and now for white, it's better to just go for queen to d2 so that he can go for bishop to h6, targeting this dragon bishop. And here white can also go for this aggressive line h4, but in this game he goes for queen to d3, preparing to castle long side. And finally here Firouzja goes for and since you can see in the next move, black is going to play queen to c7 and then the move rook to c8, creating this triple battery which can create some trouble for white in future. So to avoid this, here Alireza immediately slides his king to b1. And after that, here Firouzja goes for knight at d goes to e2, preparing for knight to f4. But guys, let me go back to the move queen to c7. Here white missed something crazy. Instead of the move knight to e2, in this position here white can consider this move knight at c goes to b5. And it looks weird at first sight because you are giving full control to black on this c file, but guys, believe me, it's a very good move. Let's suppose if black decides to capture on b5 by bishop takes b5, knight takes b5, attacking this queen, and obviously you can't go you can't place this queen back to this b8 move, b8 square, because then white will push b3 first, which attacks this rook, and after this rook goes back to, let's suppose, on c6, bishop takes a7, and you can see that will be winning for white. So obviously black can't do this, so that's why, let's suppose if queen to c6, Here white can attack this queen one more time, and after queen to c8, b3, attacking this rook, rook to c5, c4. And now look at this position. You can see white is better. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move, okay, so now bishop to c6 by Caruana, a good move, keeping an eye over this d5 square, so that white cannot enter to this square. And here rook to c8 by Caruana, and that's a mistake, because in the next move white is going to capture this pawn on h5. So what can black do? Guys, here after the move g4, here it's important for black to go for the move d5. This is because if now white decides to push to capture on h5, then simply d takes e4. But what's next? What if h takes g6? If this happens, simply e takes f3, g takes f7 check, rook takes f7, and you can see this game is still equal because of the move knight to g4, and you can see black successfully creates a passer on this f file. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move rook to c8, here Firouzja decides to capture on h5 by g takes h5, and obviously here black cannot recapture with the g pawn because this will opens the g file in which white can place his rook. So that's why he goes for b4. Okay, so from this point this game becomes more interesting. So as you can see here, black is targeting this knight, which obviously can be defended by just going back to this c2 e2 square. And guys, if you go for knight at c goes to e2, that will be a huge blunder because of this amazing sacrifice by knight takes e4, completely giving up this knight. And let's suppose if white captured by his f pawn, simply bishop takes e4. And now tell me, who is going to protect this c2 pawn? And you can see this pawn also cannot be pushed due to this. And guys, now let me go back to this move, which is this move b4. Okay, so guys, now you might be shocked that basically this move is a mistake. Yes guys, this move is a mistake. This is because instead of defending this knight here, which is obviously disastrous for white, as we see here, Alireza shocked everyone by sacrificing his knight by capturing on g6. But why? This is because of the following sequence which he played. And now queen to g2, and you can see black is going to infiltrate on this g6 square. So to stop this, here Caruana goes for e5. He tries to attack this knight, but simply rook at h goes to g1. He simply gives up this knight, and basically that's not a sacrifice because after takes, you can see simply queen takes g7 check, and now king to e6. And now queen to g5 is just winning with the idea of giving a check from f5 square, and then this rook can enter to this g6 square. But surprisingly, Firouzja missed that move and he goes for the move queen to g6. And the problem with that move is now black can go for the move bishop to d7. And guys, That's a really good move. But why this is a good move? Because of this, let's suppose if white gives a check from f5 square, king to f7, and now there is a discover attack on this queen. So let's suppose if queen to g6 check, simply king to e6, and this back and forth motion goes on. So now I think you all understand this sequence. Okay, so in the actual game, after queen to g6, Caruana missed this only move which can save this game, whereas he decides to capture on e3, and finally Firouzja simply brings his queen to f5 with a check. And in this position, Fabiano Caruana resigned because of king to f8 and finally queen to f7 checkmate. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.